with some much better, stiffer ones than these rubber ones. Just made sure they weren't going to stick. Otherwise, get someone else to do it. Time to clean up some brakes. Welcome, and thanks for spending some time with me today. In this episode, we're going to tackle the rear brakes and make them right. And by making them right, what I mean is basically we're going to take them off, we're going to disassemble, we're going to clean them up, paint them, and also going to show you some assembly tips as well when we put them all together, and then you'll see the final result. So, the first thing obviously we got to do with brakes is we got to take them off. So let's get on with it. In case you're wondering why I'm not just removing the caliper and I'm removing the brake lines, it's because I'm replacing the brake lines with some much better, stiffer ones than these rubber ones. Since I have this caliper out, I think I'm going to paint it, and Hazel will do the other side as well. So I'll bead blast it, and then we'll paint it, and we'll be good as new again. So when I opened this brake line up, I used a flare wrench. Use flare wrenches. Don't use an open end wrench. Don't even try to use an open end wrench, because when you do, you're going to round those corners off and you're end up doing a mess. And then you're going to try and get a flare wrench. You can go buy one anyway, and it won't rescue you because you've rounded the edges off, and you'll be in a world of hurt, having a bad day. So make sure you buy them if you're going to do this work. Otherwise, get someone else to do it. Time to clean up some brakes. Let's make these shiny and new again. I'm going to paint them as well. As you've seen, I blasted these, but I did a little work too. I cleaned up the cylinders as well and just made sure they weren't going to stick. All prepped and ready for paint. Can't wait to see what they look like when they're finished and put on. So we're gonna put this on. Before we do, I always put anti-seize on most bolts actually. It's good practice. I had one or a few people actually ask about when you do stuff, say how much you use, don't just say a bit. That makes sense. You don't need a lot of this stuff. Basically, you just need enough to coat. And if you just put a little bit on, I usually try to put it on the end and then it just kind of turns in. I already got too much there, to be honest. Okay, that's more than we need. You don't need a bunch because it doesn't take much to just do the surface. So I'll try and do the, it's kind of bulking up. The way the brush was, that's kind of the way it was. So I might leave it, I might take a little off. If you got less than that, you're fine. I usually just try to put a circle around the tip like that and then to turn it in and we're good. So you don't want this on the brakes. So I am going to take some of this off because I'm not happy with that. So I took a little rag. You can see now what it looks like. And that's what I put on. So don't put too much on, especially if you're around brakes. I'll just show you what I did is I took a little rag. And again, you might think this is too OCD, but you want to do it right, folks. So see how that? Now when I screw that in, it's going to actually coat the rest because it's going to push some out on the threads, onto the other threads, and it just ends up doing the whole deal. You wonder why I'm knowing the nice brakes and then the trailing arm and everything isn't that good. We're actually going to do that later. We're going to take the whole suspension out, powder coat it and everything. So that is coming. That's just going to be in another phase, we call it right now. Make sure you use appropriate brake lubricant. Again, you don't need a ton of this on, and you only need it on the parts that recently are contact. I'm going to put on a few things here, just before I put the caliper on itself. The first one is just on this little shaft here. Definitely are these new boots as well. Need some as well, and I did put some in here already. Make sure the brakes are clamped. We should be able to, if I got that turned in enough, we should be able to put this on. Let's see. Not quite. Might have to turn that a bit yet. I think I got to turn that in yet. So we're going to get the right tool for that. Now, you see this little notch on the brake pad here? Right here? Well, we want to make sure that little V there, you see that? I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see that little V right there. This notch has to slide in there, like that. So when you put this back down, make sure that that fits in there. That's why I got this light. And it does. Just want to make sure. I want to do a couple things just because it's easier right now. I think I'm going to torque this down. Other important thing to do is, again, with the brake lubricant, to get in the parts that are going to be in contact. And in that case, it's this caliper. It's obviously the piston here, and these edges here. I'm going to now lubricate that. And I usually use a Q-tip just so I don't get it all over the place or on my finger. And again, you don't need a lot because it just flies all over the brakes otherwise. You notice these pads don't have shims on them. I'd recommend that. We're going to try it without to see if they make a lot of noise or not. You're going to do the anti-seize again on here. Cloth wipe again. Putting the parking brake on now. You notice I'm putting these brake lines in and they're new. I always suggest, you never know from the factory what people have done or haven't done. So I always take an air hose and blow at any line that I ever use, any type of pipe, anything that something's going to go through, just to make sure it's clear. Because again, you don't want any surprises and you can be troubleshooting like crazy, thinking it can't be the new thing, it can't be the new thing, but sometimes it's the new thing that you put in. I'm also going to put these little clips in that hold the brake pads. And before I do that, I actually also put some brake lube on that too, on where they go. And they actually go right in here. So I'm just gonna, a little bit in there. That about covers the rear brakes and making them even better than new again. And not only are they at their optimal functional condition, they look really good too, don't they, guys? I plan to follow up on this episode with a complete brake flush, and I'm going to actually include the use of a brand new tool that I've got. I've been looking forward to having one of these for years, and I think you'll be interested in how well it operates as well. Can't wait for that one. And to make sure you catch it, please subscribe. Also share with your friends you think they're interested in these videos as well as similar topics like the one you just watched. Don't forget to ensure you enjoy every day and always make it right.